We obviously need a lot more houses to be listed for sale in order to cool off this housing market further. And a good portion of those houses that should be listed for sale should be coming from the new home industry. However, I found an interesting article on the National Association of Home Builders website. It shows we're seeing more and more home builders construct single-family houses in order to be rented out and not go towards home buyers. So that's the topic of today's video. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. And of course, if you guys get any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. So this is according to the National Association of Home Builders. They actually just published this a few days ago. 18th of May. It says here, the single family built for rent sector continues to expand as housing affordability headwinds increase. So obviously we have record high home prices and of course high mortgage rates, and that's causing a lot of housing affordability issues for would-be home buyers. So that's transitioning people from home buyers or potential home buyers into renters. And so builders are recognizing that, and they're building single family houses to be rented out, and of course apartment buildings as well. It says here, according to their analysis of the latest Census Bureau's data here, it says there were approximately 13,000 single family built for rent starts during the first quarter of 2022. In other words, for the first quarter of 2022, they were estimating we have approximately 13,000 single family units that were being constructed in order to rent out and not to sell to home buyers. That's a 62.5% gain over the first quarter of 2021. Over the past 4 quarters, 57,000 such homes began construction. In other words, houses that are being built in order to rent out, which is a 32.6% gain compared to the 43,000 housing starts for built to rent in the prior 4 quarters. So when you actually click on this link right here, it takes you to this website here, which is the website I use to report new home construction numbers and new home sales numbers on the US Census Bureau's website. So when you click on this link right here, it takes you to this Excel file here. I added some details here in order to figure out where they're getting these numbers from. So again, they are estimating we have approximately 13,000 single family built for rent housing starts for Q1 of 2022. So when you look at this Excel file, which is an upload again from the US Census Bureau's website, it gives you this information right here. So what I added here is everything to the right of this black bar here. So I try to figure out where did they get these 13,000 units here, right? So here is single family units, and these are housing starts in the United States by purpose and design. So for single family units, they don't give you the exact number that are being constructed in order to rent out. They do give you the numbers that are being built for sale though, and they also give you contractor built and owner built. In stark contrast though, as I reported to you guys last week, they do share the purpose of construction for multifamily units. So these are units in buildings with 2 units or more. In other words, multifamily housing starts in the US. And this is by quarter. And as I've been reporting to you guys, the vast majority of multifamily units are being built to rent out and not for sale. As you can see right here. So the purpose of construction for rent, 113,000 out of the 124,000 total multifamily housing starts for Q1 of 2022. Only 11,000 were being built for sale. That represents 91,000 of the total housing starts for multifamily are going to be built for the purpose of renting out. So that's 113 divided on 124. On top of that, out of all the total housing starts from multifamily, approximately 86% are going towards building apartment buildings. So that's 20 units or more. So approximately 86% of the housing starts for multifamily are going to apartment buildings to rent out. So that's what we're seeing for multifamily. And so the National Association of Home Builders actually kind of gave us an estimation about how many of these single family houses are being used to rent out, because the US Census Bureau does not provide that information. However, based on my analysis here, here's how they came up with this number here. So 13,000, by the way, these are in thousands of units, and these are of course for single family units. And again, housing starts by purpose and design over the past few years here. So have a look at this. Here's total housing starts for single family units, 266,000 for the first quarter of 2022. So built for sale total is 207. So 207,000 out of the 266,000 are being built to sell. The vast majority are being built to sell. Therefore, the small percentage are being built to rent out. So take a look at this. This is how I came up with this number here. So total housing starts, again, 266. Subtract 207 because we know these are being built for sale. They also have contractor built and owner built. The National Association of Home Builders is assuming that these are being built for owner occupied, not to be built to rent out. So if you hire a contractor to build a house, chances are you're building that house in order to live in it and not to rent it out, because it's going to cost so much money to construct a house. You're not going to get a positive return on your money if you're going to be building a house in general and renting it out. So only 32,000 of those housing starts for single family are going to contractor built, and only 14,000 are going to owner built. In other words, the owner of the house is building a house for themselves and potentially to live in. That's what the National Association of Home Builders is estimating. So what they did is they took total housing starts, subtracted that from the total for built for sale, and also subtracted contractor built and owner built. And that gives you 13,000 units that potentially could be going towards building in order to rent out. And by my dumb math here, this represents approximately 5% of all total housing starts for single family units here. So a very small percentage. However, that trend has been increasing though. So when you compare Q1 2022 to Q1 of 2021, that's a 61.5% increase. The same number here that the National Association of Home Builders is also estimating as well. I also added a column here for the approximate total over the past few years as well. So for 2019, we had approximately 39,000 single family houses that are being built in order to rent out. I should say single family units. Also in 2020, it was 44,000, so a slight increase. And then last year in 2021, we had 52,000. So base right now at the past 4 quarters, it is at 57,000. The prior 4 quarters was at 43,000. So the share has been increasing, even though the market share is still at very low numbers. In any case, obviously I'm nerding out here, but I just want to share some data regarding this because I really was interested to see how they're coming up with this 13,000 units here that are being built to rent out. So it says here the single family built for rent market is a way to add inventory amid concerns over housing affordability and down payment requirements in the for sale market. In other words, for people who no longer can afford to buy a house, and also they have some constraints on coming up with a down payment, they're going to be renting houses. It also says a growing number of people want more space in single family construction as well, or a structure. Also, the construction for single family built for rent is different than single family houses to purchase. This is also according to the Builders Association here. This was actually published in 2019. And these are the following differences between for sale and new single family homes built for rent, or SFBFR. Interesting acronym. In any case, for these houses that are being built for rent, they are typically smaller with fewer bedrooms and bathrooms. They're often single family stories. They're often single story buildings, and they're also 7 times more likely to be a townhome, which is a single family attached home. They're also more likely to be located on a smaller lot. It also says this type of construction is found most often in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. As I mentioned, the market share for houses being built to rent is still very low. So it says, given the relatively small size of this market segment, the quarter-to-quarter movements typically are not significant here. However, the current 4-quarter moving average of the market share, which is currently at 5.1%, is higher than the historic average of 2.7%. That's based from 1992 to 2012. And it's also near a 3-year high. It's also worth mentioning here that these estimates noted above here only include houses being built and held by the builder for rental purposes. The estimates exclude houses that are sold to another party for rental purposes, which NAHB estimates may represent another 3 to 4% of single-family houses. So in other words, these estimates of 13,000 single-family built to own are only for builders who plan to rent out these single family units here. They're not going towards construction of communities, for example. They're going to be sold to BlackRock, for example. And here's a graphic depiction of this. This is single family starts, and these are built for rent. The red line here is for built to rent starts. The blue line here is the market share, a 1-year moving average for houses built for rent, or single family houses built for rent. So as you can see here, the blue line here is the market share. So right now we have approximately a 5% market share. Back in 2010 to 2012, it was in the range of 5.5% to approximately 6%. So not a big change compared to just after the Great Recession, but far greater than 1990 until 2008. So the question is, of course, why are builders constructing single-family houses in order to rent out? And the answer is right here. This is a good depiction of what's really going on right now. This is according to Corelogic. They have a great website regarding housing market trends in the U.S. It says here, U.S. single-family rent gains almost tripled from March of 2021. Miami also remains the hottest rental market with prices up almost 41% year over year. So it says here, U.S. single-family rent price growth continued at a record pace in March, up 13.6% from 1 year ago. Slim inventory continues to squeeze renters, as do robust home price gains, both familiar culprits in declining affordability, because we're seeing high home prices, and of course we're seeing record high rent prices as well, causing affordability issues for renters and buyers as well. And interesting enough here, it says the warmer areas of the country also experienced the highest rent growth as well. So two of those areas were in Florida, of course, one of those being in Miami. It says the year-over-year U.S. rent price growth, once again, more than tripled the gain recorded in March of 2021. And more than quadrupled the increase from March of 2020. So obviously we see a big increase in rental prices. It's going to motivate builders to buy single-family houses in order to rent out. And according to the principal economist at Corelogic, she had this to say: a shortage of single-family properties available for rent has plagued the market, pushing rents up at record level rates. The number of single-family rental properties listed in early 2022 was also well below pre-pandemic levels and still shrinking from 1 year ago. So the obvious solution to this is to build more single-family houses to rent out. And here are the cities that had the biggest increases in rents compared to 1 year ago, and also the cities that had the lowest rent gains as well. So Miami once again posted the highest year-over-year increase in single-family rents in March of 2022, up 40.7%, more than 10 times its March 2021 annual growth rate of 3.8%. Absolutely insane. Orlando, Florida, and Phoenix recorded the second and third highest gains at 24.6% and 18.6%. In contrast, though, Washington, D.C. only had an increase of 7.6%, and St. Louis, Missouri at 7.5%. And to summarize this video here, according to the National Association of Home Builders, they say that while the market share of single-family built-for-rent houses is small, it still has been trending higher. As more households seek lower-density neighborhoods and single-family residences, a growing number will do so from the perspective of renting, of course, not buying. This will be particularly true as mortgage rates increase. Thus, single-family built-to-rent market will expand in the quarters ahead. And speaking of mortgage rates, to give you the latest updates according to the Mortgage News Daily as of today, which is the 23rd of May, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage for people who have excellent credit is at 5.36%. That's an increase of 2.2 percentage points compared to 1 year ago. 1 year ago, mortgage rates were at 3.16%. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button and greatly appreciate that. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.